Thank you for joining me today, everyone. Hello, honeys. It's great to see you. Today, I'll show you the perfect makeup look for those days when you want to look well-groomed but not overly flashy, opting instead for something natural yet sophisticated. Our muse for today is Jennie. I will be taking elements from the makeup styles she has been doing a lot lately and showing you exactly how to apply them. Since Jennie has been working overseas quite a bit, I've noticed she often opts for a captivating, elegant, and very sophisticated makeup style, rather than a flashy idol look. Since it's a bit challenging for us to exactly replicate Jennie's style, I'll guide you on how to apply her makeup in a way that perfectly suits your own face. So, let's dive right in. Here we go. Ta-da! Let's first explore the various components that define her skin complexion. First off, her skin complexion is incredibly natural. With very minimal coverage, her skin texture and tone naturally show through. For this look, you absolutely cannot apply a thick layer. You have to enhance your natural skin tone as much as possible. Jennie doesn't have a very fair skin tone, right? She's probably a shade 23 or 24. It is truly crucial to really highlight and embrace your natural body, face, and unique skin tone. I'll make sure to preserve my natural skin tone as much as possible, and you should all do the same for your own skin tone. And there isn't a lot of glow. It's more of a subtle satin finish. Looking at her makeup, she seems to really go for that ultimate natural look. There's barely any artificial highlighter shimmer, so I'll use a semi-matte foundation with a touch of highlighter shimmer on my cheekbones and nose bridge. This creates a subtle satin finish. Since the foundation needs to be very thin, you must prioritize good skincare. If you skimp on skincare and apply a thin base, your dry patches will be obvious, or you might end up looking too oily. So, the thinner your base, the more diligently you need to focus on your skincare routine. I'll start with COSRX, Skin Booster Serum to hydrate my skin. I'll use a device to help improve my skin's condition. This is part of my daily morning routine. I always do it whenever I have time. It has calm mode for soothing, booster mode, tightening mode, glow mode, and cryo mode. As I have always said, I focus on elasticity, so I use the tightening mode the most. Heard of LDM? I've had it at a clinic once or twice. It's known for that dewy glass skin look. It's an at-home beauty device that performs LDM treatments, you see. Also, the cryo mode that I showed you earlier, which is one of the modes, is a cooling function, and I really used it a lot during the summer. It helps soothe skin and lessen puffiness. It has a special gel to be used along with this device. But I don't have it right now, and I've used other water gels, but you need to apply a lot of the gel. If I apply too much, my skin gets sticky, so I usually wash my face after I'm done using the device. If I don't wash it off, my skin feels really sticky and uncomfortable, and rinsing it off is such a hassle. So what I've been doing lately is just using my regular skincare products with it. Earlier I used this product, right? Now I'm using an essence. The dedicated gel is probably most effective, but I'm too lazy, so I just use skincare products. This way, I don't need to wipe anything, and my skincare absorbs really well. After using it, my skin has a really nice, dewy glow. As I've said before, I have quite a few at-home beauty devices. I'm so grateful that I've been sent so many, but I never show you anything that's inconvenient or that I don't reach for. I only use the ones I show you. If you don't use the special gel, the product starts to dry out. That can cause irritation, so you need to quickly add more product. Now, I'll apply some cream. I'm going to replenish the product with this tension cream that I truly adore. All done. I do this for about 9 minutes on the tight mode. Maybe because it's expensive, but the durability is pretty good. One charge seems to last quite a while. Since I use it every day, I think I charge it once every 2 or 3 weeks. I'm not exactly sure, but the battery doesn't seem to drain super fast. Now I'll finish with a rich moisturizing cream. It's so dry these days, and since I have extremely dry skin, I need a rich cream to stay hydrated. Do not use the device for high moisture cream. It is really sticky, so apply it with your hands. My skin has an amazing glow. Using the device makes it look this way. It's super glowy. Next is sunscreen. I've been trying Torridon's lately. It's so hydrating. I highly recommend it for winter. This is a sun serum. Sun serums are generally very hydrating and can be a bit tacky, which is why I recommend them for winter. For fall and winter, it absorbs really well. Just a few rubs and it soaks in. Okay, when you apply sunscreen, make sure to get the sides of the nose and then under the eyes. Don't put sunscreen too close to your eyes, it stings, only up to the dark circles. Make sure to gently sweep over your temples, eyebrows, and hairline, and then continue to massage along the entire edges of your face. Sunscreen often collects in these areas and clear formulas are invisible. Otherwise, your base will pill and cake. Skincare is always important for this reason. This is already the start of your makeup. My final skincare step is always lanolin cream. Oh, this is Stitch, everyone! Isn't he so cute? I take a tiny amount on my pinky and gently pat it under my eyes where fine lines are starting to form. It's super moisturizing, so it prevents under-eye dryness. And on my lips. This lanolin cream moisturizes best, better than other lip balms. I'm practically a lanolin ambassador, aren't I? I bought 6 tubes of this myself. We've prepped our skin texture well with our skincare routine. My skin feels incredibly firm and deeply hydrated. Now I'll apply a semi-matte foundation to achieve a beautiful satin finish. If you apply semi-matte foundation on dry, flaky skin, it will look matte. Then you might get dry patches and pores will look more obvious. For a matte skin complexion, the inner layers of your skin must be deeply hydrated. That's how you get that perfect balance. Hydrated inside, slightly matte outside. Today's foundation is from Daiso. They just started carrying Yongsae Mul, and this spatula foundation is so good. There's a glow type too, but I've been liking semi-matte lately, and with bangs, I've only used the semi-matte type, which is really great. I mentioned I need to match my tone well today, right? I'll show you how to match your skin tone perfectly. First of all, your face is never just one even tone. Areas like this are a bit darker, and areas like this are lighter. You have to decide which area you want to match. If you just apply it to your cheekbones and match it there, it might look brighter than expected. So there's no right answer. You just have to choose which tone you want to match. Today, I don't want a bright look. Should I try to match this reddish area here? It's a little dark right now. First, I've put a little bit of shade 21. Then I'll add some 23 to check the color, but you can't tell anything when it's like this. Because the formula is clumped up, it looks much brighter than it is. You must spread just a tiny bit, just a little. Then, thinly apply shade 23. Apply a very thin layer here. Now look from a bit of a distance. If you look from far away and can't tell where you applied it, then it's either very close to your skin tone or slightly darker. My natural skin tone lacks redness. This one has an orangey reddish tint. I think simply mixing the two will be perfect. Since my hands are thoroughly clean, I actually prefer to use the back of my hand as a palette. This foundation's great because it includes a spatula. So you can just apply it like this, but since I mixed the shades, I'll use this spatula separately. I'll spread it out thinly. My pores here are large, so I'll swipe it a few times. Swipe it repeatedly to fill in pores. On the puff. Spray some mist like this. I use the Yonjak Prep water. Any mist is fine. A damp puff helps the foundation adhere even better. Just patting with a dry puff will actually cause your skin to lose its moisture. The sponge will soak it all up, so make sure your sponge is damp. Its foundation adherence and coverage are really good. It covers well. For a thin skin complexion, I barely apply it on the edges. I just lightly brush cast it. This gives the face a more sculpted look. After all, people aren't only seen from the front, they're seen from various angles, and if nothing's applied here, it just looks like my skin. It gives a very natural look. Don't apply it densely all the way to the edges. Just gently sweep to connect it. I have large pores between my eyebrows, so I'll swipe it a few times here as well. When you have a breakout like this, it's not easy to scrape over it with a spatula. Since the surface is bumpy, it can hurt, and it's hard to apply it evenly. So I spread the product widely across the puff, ensuring a very thin layer. And then I apply it. I used almost nothing. I just keep adding a tiny bit at a time, little by little. That's how you get a thin application that looks like you're wearing nothing. Oh, the puff is from Hua Hong M. It's a puff I really love. It's flexible, so my fingers are comfortable and it adheres well. For the upper lip, just lightly sweep over it with minimal product. Areas that move a lot need less. Otherwise it will crease and get cakey, and I'll have to scrape my nose several times. Because I have huge pores, with the remaining amount, I'll pat and blend it up the bridge of my nose and onto my cheeks. I'm skipping the sides of my nose because I'll use concealer there. If you apply both foundation and concealer, it can get cakey, so I leave it bare to apply just the concealer. The same goes for under the eyes, and blend it into the lower eye area too. This area can look dull, so make sure to go over it. I don't apply foundation on my eyelids because it settles into creases, hindering my eye makeup. Just the area above the eyelid, so that's one layer done. The coverage is so good that with just one layer, oh, my skin looks so clear. I'll apply a little more just on my forehead, adding a bit more product. I'm going to cover my dark circles first, and I'll be using the Hua M35 brush. I'll coat it thinly on both sides. This brush is really great for applying under the eyes. All the Hua M brushes are such high quality. This brush has just the right amount of firmness, making it so comfortable to use under the eyes. I was using another Hua M concealer brush, maybe the 156. I used that one for 10 years. But this is much better. The other one can splay out if you don't use it right. But this one is firmer, so I'm really happy with it. Because my skincare routine is solid, my skin isn't oily, and its oil-water balance is just right. My skin is supple, so everything applies perfectly. If application fails, your skincare routine is at fault. Or perhaps your skin isn't in good condition. While technique plays a part, your skin state is truly paramount. Your skincare needs to get your skin into a condition where makeup adheres perfectly. If you watch and regularly practice what's in all my skincare videos, you can achieve this. First, the dark circles are done. For the sides of the nose, a brush like this is easiest. This is the Ojunas 017 brush. Gently stamp it on, ever so softly, so you don't cause any flakiness to appear. After just a little while, the oil starts to come through, right? If you powder then, the oil removes some of the foundation, making pores visible again. So you have to apply setting powder before the oil comes through, right after you've applied your coverage without any delay. A very fine milled powder that can fill in pores well is best. You must apply powder immediately after covering to prevent pore visibility. Next, I'll apply more concealer onto the brush to effectively cover up any redness beneath my chin. Then, I'll dab a bit onto a puff to ensure good coverage on my forehead as well. Not everyone needs to do this, but there are some people, like me, who have a bluish tint to their skin. If you have a bluish tint on your philtrum, dark circles, or around your eyebrows, you can just apply a little bit of a peach color with a brush, like so. A bluish tint can make your face appear sunken and give it an uneven look, so I'll be covering that with a peach color. Next, I highly recommend this particular step, concealer highlighting. Today I'm going to use 2/4. It's a bright lemony shade. Don't get too much product like this. Just a little is enough, so I'll remove the excess and add some dimension to my face. The space between my brows is a bit sunken, so I'll brighten it up to highlight it. This area is a bit sunken. Just a touch, or it will brighten your skin too much. A little on the bridge of my nose, but I'm not going to apply it here since I already used powder. My mouth area is a bit dull, so just a touch here. My smile lines are in a narrow area, so I've switched to a smaller brush. I just lightly filled in the areas that were a little sunken in. Now all that's left is the details concealing. If we stop here, the base will lack detail. I have some blemishes like this, but to keep it natural, I won't cover faint spots or sunspots. I'll just cover acne scars and anything that looks messy. The cotton concealer I used earlier, remember I put some on the back of my hand? It dries out a bit on the back of my hand. As it dries, the moisture evaporates, making it a little thicker. And that increases the coverage, so you can change the texture of one concealer like this. For spot concealing, I love this brush, the Anchi 118. Its size is perfect. It's great for covering everything from small to large blemishes, so I've covered all the spots. Next, I'll just cover the hollows under my eyes. See this line? I'll mix cotton color with a bit of lemon concealer. These are all concealers I used earlier. This creates a brighter concealer. Since that area is quite dark, you just cover it with a very bright concealer. Now for the blush. I've noticed Jenny uses blush in a lot of different ways. She often applies blush that extends to the bridge of her nose, creating a lovely look. And for charisma, you'll see it applied in a sideways direction too. The color payoff is quite visible, but instead of brighter blushes, she really seems to gravitate towards muted reddish rose and nude shades. To achieve a sophisticated and elegant appearance, I'll be applying it in a diagonal direction. Like a swift swipe from the side, I did find some similar shades, and this is a really cute blush. It's Eclipse No. 2 Fig Butter. It's spelled just like BBR, isn't it? I wondered if they copied BBIA, but I heard it's actually their sister brand. For blush, a finger puff like this is easiest. Don't get product on the very tip. It could leave a mark, so you must hold the puff upright to tap off the excess. Make sure the tip is clean. This blush is less pigmented than you'd think. It's better to pick up a good amount and spread it evenly like this. Because it's a blur type, it fills in wrinkles. I love how it smooths my skin texture. Skin texture matters today, and this product is ideal. Instead of glowy, I'd suggest a blur type product like this. I need to apply it diagonally like this, but my cheekbones are quite wide. If I apply it all over, my side cheekbones will stand out a lot. If you don't want to emphasize your side cheekbones, instead of starting from the back and moving forward, it's better to start from your eye as a reference point. You start from the eye and move inwards. Since I want a slight diagonal shape, I'll bring it down from the top. If I start to bring it down from this point, the blush will go too far down. So, I'll bring it down a bit from higher up. To keep your foundation from lifting, you need to put a lot of product on the puff and apply it gently. If there's little product on the puff, color payoff is weak, so you press harder unknowingly. And that's what makes your base makeup lift off. So, load up the puff and tap gently. Bring it down in a diagonal direction like this. I've added the color, and it comes in like this. We don't want it to come across as overly cutesy or lovely, and I'll be adding even more color using a powder type of product. It'll make the skin texture look even smoother. The reason I used a cream type first is that using only powder can make the skin look a bit cakey. It can look artificial. That would ruin the natural look, so I first applied color with a cream type that doesn't mess with the skin texture. The color can't be excessively red, nor can it be overly nude, so I plan to mix the two together. This one is Dear Rose, and the one below is Mocha Cream. I'll mix the nude and rose shades. This is a blush I've been really loving lately. This Mocha Cream is great for mixing with other blushes. When I think a color is a bit too red, using a shade like Mocha Cream tones down the saturation. It's always a good idea to have at least one nude shade. Just gently tap it on for a subtle layer of color. I already have some blush on, so I don't want it to get too intense. Just a little bit. And I'm also going to apply it to my nose contour. I'll pick up the same amount and gently add a subtle touch of warmth to the areas I usually contour. Using only contouring powder can sometimes look a bit dull, so the blush adds a touch of life. If you overdo this, it can suddenly look too flashy. It gives off an idle makeup vibe, so you have to apply it subtly. Next, I'll do the outer contouring. Observing Jenny's look, there's actually a fair amount of shading from the outer areas. But it's incredibly natural, right? To give your face that depth, you should definitely apply outer contouring, but you have to choose the right color and blend it evenly to avoid any harsh lines. It's important to apply it naturally so it looks like a soft shadow has been cast. Like I said before, if you use too much powder product, the skin texture can start to look a bit artificial. It looks too matte, so it doesn't feel like real skin. That's why I'm going to use a cream type contour to add color. IMMEME contour sticks are really great. I like that they're not artificial and come in many shades. I believe having a wide range of contouring shades is essential. Since everyone's skin tone is unique, to achieve a natural color, I'll need to mix them again, just like before. Number 3, light cool bronzer, and number 4, light warm bronzer. These are bronzers that aren't too dark. This is number 3, and this is number 4. One can look too ashy and the other a bit yellow, so I'm going to mix the two. Mixing them gives this effect. The color's much more natural. It's fine to just swipe it on like this, but since I've put so much effort into the coverage, and I don't want it to get ruined, I'm going to pick up the product using a thick foundation brush or a makeup puff, like so. If you simply use just a powder brush for this, it might clump up a bit. So a very dense foundation brush is ideal. I am going to get an even mix of both. Applying it directly might be too intense, so first I'll test it on the back of my hand to check the color payoff and distribute it evenly on the brush. The outer edges should be the darkest, right? Now just work your way inward. If you swipe, you'll ruin your base, so you have to just tap. You can bring it in as far as the area you want to sculpt. Try to avoid applying it to the areas that are naturally hollow and focus on the parts that stick out. See how that created a soft shadow? It's very natural. To achieve a more natural look, I'm blending it to the face's outer edges. It needs to be seamless. If you lose coverage while contouring, just use a fine brush for touch-ups. But since we contoured, the skin tone has become darker. I will use a darker color. This is precisely why it's beneficial to have a concealer palette or a range of different shades at your disposal. Now, for nose contouring, I'll use a grey color ideal for nose contouring to create this shading. Too dark breaks the natural look, so I'll avoid making it too intense. The bridge of the nose is the center of the face, and when a shadow is cast there, it has a greyish tone. To get that truly shadow-like effect, I'm only using an ashy color. It looks the most natural. I'm going to take a darker color on a thin brush just to sculpt the shape and make it a bit more defined and sharp. You don't have to do this part. In fact, if you do it awkwardly, it can ruin the sophisticated look. Apply gently to keep coverage intact and prevent patchy contouring. Next, using this highlighter powder, I'll brighten up the tip of my nose and also the bridge. Just a bit between my brows. And now I'll apply setting powder. I have some texture right here on my cheekbones. Gently now. I don't want the skin complexion to look too thick, so I'm using a finely milled powder on purpose. And I have a pimple on my forehead, so it looks a bit raised. I really need to mattify the oiliness here. Since I've already applied the contouring, I'll just go ahead with the setting powder. These days, most loose powders are finely milled and really good quality, you know. So instead of a pressed type, you have these loose types, right? Use something like this today. Even if you apply it all over your face, it still preserves that subtle satin finish. Your skin won't look stiff. It doesn't get too matte, which is perfect for today's look. And if you look at Jenny's eyebrows, they're really natural. I think her eyebrows are the most natural part of her face. I purposely didn't trim my stray hairs. You'll see many on my eyelids. First of all, your stray hairs have to grow in nicely. Mine don't. They grow in sparsely, so if I leave them, they just look messy, making my face appear smaller and confined. So I simply removed them all for a clean finish. But in Jenny's case, her eyelid space is quite wide, and her eyelids are on the fuller side. I don't have much eyelid fat, and for people with hollow eyelids like me, leaving stray hairs can make that area look even more sunken. Thus, it might make one appear somewhat less lively. However, in Jenny's instance, her eyelids are quite plump, so even with the fine hairs, they don't seem hollow. Instead, they contribute to a very natural aesthetic. Don't just copy this. You need to check your own stray hairs. You must check your eyelid length and how sunken your eyes are. If someone with narrow eyelids leaves stray hairs, it can look confined. Also, she doesn't artificially change her brow color or use a lot of brow mascara. Her brows are filled in while keeping the texture slightly wild. That's why her brows look so natural. That sophistication comes from a well-groomed, natural look. It's hard to get a sophisticated vibe from an artificial look. So Jenny's eyebrows are a key point that really brings out that natural and sophisticated feel. Now how to apply this? If you have Jenny-like eyes, let the stray hairs be. If your eyelid space is long and full, and your desired aesthetic is natural and sophisticated, then try leaving some stray hairs. Today, I also need to create a natural look like Jenny, so while I normally use a lighter color, I'll use a similar dark color to embrace my slightly strong natural brows. I won't artificially alter them. I need to enhance my brow texture, right? But my eyebrow hairs grow lying flat. They don't grow upwards, they grow sideways, lying down. So I'm going to awaken these hairs. I'll brush them upward, as if telling them to rise. Raising them too much would make them look unnatural, so I'll just lift them a bit. You should all try using a clear brow mascara like this today. The goal is to really enhance my natural brow texture. I'll warm up the comb slightly to make it warm, then I'll set them in place. A little bit of warmth actually helps them set and stay in place much better, you know? The middle part gets brushed sideways and the back part downwards. And now I'll fill in the sparse areas with a grey-brown colour. The key is to only fill in the empty spots. Once you've defined your brow texture with the clear brow mascara, they tend to look a bit fuller. Your brows themselves look thicker too, so if you first groom the hairs with clear brow mascara and then fill in the sparse areas, you can create a very natural look. And with a slightly darker colour, a natural brown, I'll add a little more fullness. When the brows get a bit darker, it adds a sense of weight. It gives a more sophisticated look. This area is dark and other parts are lighter, right? Look from a distance to check for dark and light spots, and then fill in the lighter areas a bit more. When you look at her eye makeup, Jenny's signature style is surprisingly simple. What I found particularly captivating about Jenny's makeup style was her eye makeup. Under eye makeup is quite popular these days, isn't it? So while you often see dramatic makeup designed to make eyes look widely open, Jenny doesn't dramatically enlarge her eyes in that manner. Even the most common techniques like winged outliner and aegyosal are kept to a minimum. Because her eyelids are slightly prominent, deep eye shading is applied to add an even more profound sense of depth. Her eyelids are covered with eye shading for a deep look, but her under eyes are very clean. It doesn't have that trendy makeup feel you see everywhere, right? I find that so charming. In a way, she really breaks the mold of typical trends, truly showing off her natural eyes and elevating that natural beauty into her signature charm. That's the essence of it. Jenny is also famous for having a short mid-face, right? So if she overdoes the under-eye makeup, it makes that area look even shorter, which gives her a cuter appearance. To achieve a more elegant and captivating world star aura, she opted for natural and sophisticated eye makeup rather than a flashy, overly cute aesthetic that might diminish her mature charm. And her eyelashes were expressed as surprisingly full, quite dense and long. She doesn't curl her lashes much. A strong curl makes the eyes look much more extended upwards. It gives your eyes a rounder feel. It makes them look more glamorous and defined, but Jennie usually gives off a sultry vibe rather than an overly flashy, sparkling-eyed appearance. So instead of a strong curl, her lashes are slightly lifted, almost drooping, which actually veils the eyes, you know. It's a subtle veil, creating a deeper, sultrier feel. Instead of widening them, you're shaping the eyes this way. That creates a sultry mood. So if you want to create this kind of vibe, don't curl your lashes too tightly. Just give them a slight lift at the ends to make your eyes look more sultry. For shadow, I think brown tones will be good, so I'll use Dear.A's number 2 petal. I'll be mixing these two to create the base. This one is a bit too yellow, so I'll combine them to get the right shade. I'll apply this product all over the eyelid. Just follow the natural indentation of your eye socket, going up to that crease. If you only apply it directly onto the lid, it can appear a bit constricted, so it's best to extend it outwards to create a broader and more expansive effect. And now, for the eye shading, I'll be using this specific color. If you have a darker skin tone, this color might not show up as shading. If that's the case, mix it with a darker shade. Apply it in a straight line along the very bottom portion of the eyelid. Then, gently blend it up. With the leftover product, lightly sweep the bridge of your nose. This connects everything. Now open your eyes and look at the front part here. Sweep this area too, following the shape of your eye socket. It makes your eyes look deeper. It also makes the eyes look bigger, but in a subtle way. And extend it out to the back. See how deep that looks? You can apply it like this and stop right here. If you want a more profound look, I'll add a bit more shading. I've switched to a smaller brush and you apply it thinly, very close to the lash line. Apply it thinly, not too thick. Then, lightly blend it up. A light hand creates a natural gradient. Applying it lightly creates a gradient. Then take the same color again and lightly connect it to the outer corner of the under eye. If you don't apply anything here, your eyes can look closed off, just a light connection. The eyeliner is quite dark and defined. It's not too thick, and it fills in the spaces between the lashes. The outer corner of the eye is also slightly elongated. It's not artificially flicked up, but rather extends just a bit backward, matching Jennie's naturally upward slanted eye shape. I'll extend it upwards, giving it a bit of length, but making sure it's not overly long. I'm using Wake Make in deep brown. I chose a slightly darker color for more definition. I just lightly sketched it with gel liner. Now I'll curl my lashes. To avoid a strong curl, I'll only clamp the roots gently. You need to curl it slightly. Then as you pull away, add a bit more intensity to the curl and then pull downwards. First, gently clamp it, then as you release, clamp it again slightly firmer, pulling it downwards with pressure. With more pressure, I'll use a partial curler to curl the front lashes in the same exact way. Only the bottom part curls up. The curl isn't too strong, right? Now I'll use a liquid liner for the inner waterline, close to the lashes. It's Skin Food Deep Brown. I'll fill close to the lashes with this color, similar to the gel liner. Gel liner can smudge, so I'm filling in the inner part with a liquid type like this. And it's really best to match this liner color to your eye color. It looks the most natural. Match it to your iris or lens color. After filling in the inner lash line with a color that matches your iris's edge, I'll use a dark shade, similar to the liner, to ensure the line looks even cleaner and more defined. This one is 2-shot Americano Dark Espresso. I am going to apply it right on top of the liner. You don't have to do this part, only if you want to be extra meticulous. Cleaning it up with eyeshadow makes the line look a little neater. And we need to make sure the eyelashes are a bit richer and longer, don't we? I'll use 11mm Cake Compact lashes. 11mm is quite a long length. If I had curled my lashes too strongly, these 11mm ones would look way too dramatic. But since I only curled the base in a J-curl shape, even these long lashes look less overwhelming. It creates a deep, sultry look rather than a flashy one. After applying them, you have to use your fingers to press the angle downwards like this. You can adjust the angle before the glue dries, so you just push them down a bit so the lashes don't point too far up. So I've applied all the lashes. They look much fuller and longer now. Since the angle isn't too high, they don't look overly dramatic from the front, right? It makes my eyes look deeper. And since the lashes themselves are so long, they look more three-dimensional from different angles. We want to maintain a dense and full lash look, so a long lash mascara will likely be more suitable than a super volumizing one that might create too much bulk or thickness. So I'll use the 3CE All Long Extension product and apply it evenly to avoid clumps. And I can actually detect a subtle shimmer on her under eye area. So I'm also going to create a clean look with a subtle shimmer. It's Colorgram's Ejioso Maker in number 3, a concealer shade. My under eye area is a bit dull, so I'll lightly conceal it, making sure it extends straight at the outer edges. Then I'll blend it out with a clean brush. See? It looks so much cleaner now that I've applied this. For a really subtle, barely there glow, I'm going to apply this shade called Lone Star Baby's Breath. The shimmer is incredibly subtle, almost imperceptible. I'll just apply a tiny amount with this. This is a shimmer I often use to naturally brighten my under eye area. And the inner corners of the eyes are also important. Jenny has highlighter shimmer there. Rather than applying it right next to the eye, I'll leave a slight gap and then draw a gentle curve downwards into the recessed area. I'll bring it down a bit more near the front of my dark circles. This is number 1 from Tag. It's a champagne-like colour, truly great for the inner corners of the eyes. I'll just add a slight shimmer to it. Adding this highlighter shimmer makes your nose look more defined. The contrast is stronger, making it feel more dimensional. The eye makeup is clean, but a pop of shimmer is added where needed so it's not too plain. And I'm going to skip the under eye shadow, winged out liner and all of that. I should do something with my hair. I have really short, choppy bangs, but I don't think they fit today's vibe, so I'm going to tie my hair back neatly. I'll do some styling on my hair and then I'll finish up the makeup. I'm going to apply a little bit of gel to slick my bangs back really neatly. My bangs are so short, so I'm using a fixer to hold them in place. I've changed into this outfit. This is a velvet jacket. It's a very clean design, and it's a vintage piece. You know those warehouse-style stores? I found it there, like a treasure hunt. I really love it. My hair, I just tied it back simply. I slicked it all back, nice and clean. For lenses, nothing too flashy. The 2 lenses, grey. Now for the lips. I noticed Jenny often goes for a dewy lip look. And she often does a subtle overlined lip. She tends to use colours similar to her blush. This is Eclipse's shade number 3, Rose Valenti. I will use this natural nude rose colour to sharply define and accentuate the Cupid's bow on my lips. The colour needs to blend with the blush, you know, but my blush isn't showing much right now. The colour is Vanilla Rose, a very muted rose shade. I'm genuinely a huge fan of this alternative stereo caramel glaze series. These products deliver an incredibly vibrant, high shine effect. These colours came out really beautifully, with a muted and subtle feel, as if a drop of cream was mixed into them. These are my favourite lip products lately. All shades are gorgeous. It sits on the lips so calmly, you know. If you want this kind of clean look, you can stop here. However, the pictures I picked weren't exclusively nude lips. The colour ties in with the blush, so I am going to add a bit more saturation. This is Hera's number 390, a more vibrant rose colour I'll apply over it. This Hera product also has a gorgeous luster. It feels like it fills in my lip lines. A bit more colour, right? The blush isn't showing, so my lips might stand out too much. Since only my lips are dark, all the attention is drawn downwards. At this point you'll want to revive the blush colour. Just apply it diagonally, like so. See? Now that the blush is back, the focus isn't just on the bottom, it's more balanced. The makeup balance is much better. This is Dear Dahlia's Bliss Beige, my favourite highlighter. The glow is so natural. It's supernatural, isn't it? Just a subtle touch on the tip of my nose, and a delicate highlight on the V-zone of my cheekbones. I'll also add just a touch under the brow bone to create a seamless connection, giving that beautiful subtle satin finish, like this. Wow, I'm so in love with this makeup. I should do this look whenever I want something clean. I really hope you guys like it too. It's clean, but it still has dimension and my skin texture looks amazing. But if you look closely, I didn't cover these blemishes. I wanted a natural look. And with that, our natural and sophisticated makeup look is done. You guys, this look isn't too flashy, it looks so classy, and I just love it. I really hope all of you, my viewers, enjoy trying this out too. I want you to feel a sense of joy and happiness as you do your makeup. I will share so much of my happiness with all of you. Thank you so very much for watching today. I'll see you in our next video, okay? Thank you.